time here. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to to the trip. All right, you have a lot of people coming and going, but hopefully it stays this time. All right. It feels like it's been a while since I've done a show on a Monday, anyways. And I've done a show in the States. No, not really, but we're here. All right, we'll get into it. Say hi to everybody, and we'll start. Spencer, how you doing?
Doing excellent. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Stan, Tony, good to see everybody.
Cool. Tony, how you doing?
I can complain, but it doesn't do any good, so I'm all right. Able to smile, so I'm all right.
There you go. Oh, there's a lot of people not smiling right now, but we'll get into that as well. Stan, how you doing?
Well, like Tony, I'm the opposite. I can complain, and I'm aiming to do most of it during this show.
I hear you. We're gonna say hi to a couple of people, and then we will get started. BX from the Boogie Down is in the house. Welcome to the show. He says hello and greetings, everyone. Miss Melina joins us. Welcome to the show, Miss Melina. All right, let's get into it. So I guess we'll start. I guess we'll just get into it. Arsenal. Well, I'll just say this: Arsenal tested their luck too many. A third time. Three times is not the charm. You can't go down to 10 men, and you can't go down to 10 men with over a half to play, and you can't go down to 10 men against a team that has nothing else to lose. And you can't go down to 10 men if you can't score a goal. And you can't go down to 10 men and keep up with the top teams in the league. I don't care about the injuries or anything. I don't think any of that should matter. I think it was a total team failure in the sense that we didn't get a point, much less. We should have got a win, but there you go. So we shall see, and that's how I feel about that. Quick thoughts there. Lonzo joins us. Stefan is in the house. Yes, Lonzo the slag. So we'll go clockwise here. Spencer, initial thoughts on what you saw on Saturday?
Well, so I really didn't get to watch too much of it. I mean, I saw it, watching it, but I wasn't paying attention as much as I like. But it just seemed lackluster. Lineup was kind of weird. You're already down Saka, 3 holding midfielders. It just felt very. I don't want to say we came in cocky, but it just didn't. It didn't feel right from the start. And then, of course, the red card, I mean, that changed everything. And I think for me, when it meltdown, the meltdown for me was when you took Sterling off and put Kibior on, when you're already very defensive in the midfield. That was just wasn't a good sign. But other than that, I think we got what we deserved based on the effort put out there. Very disappointing. No Saliba this weekend. I'm sure we'll get further into it, but I was very disappointed in Arteta, the team, and it's going to be hard to come back from that one.
I hear that. So we're going to say hi to a couple more people. We'll get to Tony and Stan. Rosie joins us. Welcome to the show, Rosie. And everybody's saying hello. And Jamal joins us. Welcome to the show, Jamal. That's a new name for me. I hope you're doing well. Yep. Got it. Chris Nix is in the house. Welcome to the show, Chris. All right, so Tony, talk to me.
Our Arsenal wasn't prepared. The other team was. You seen it by their pressing. Even when we had the 11 players, we didn't look good. Didn't have much at all of attack. They kept coming at us. Then Saliba does his very stupid, reckless challenge there. Red. No arguing about it. His body language said it was a red. Then, like Spencer was saying, the substitution didn't make any sense at the time. I mean, he had a back three, then he went to a back four, and it just didn't work at all. And so now we're gonna be sitting there down Saliba going to Liverpool. His reckless challenge might cost us 6 points because who the hell are we to put her with Gabriel? I mean, we haven't seen him with anybody else. So do you put White there? Do you put Kiwior there? Do you put the Italian that I think's very sloppy and why we've been letting in goals since he's came into the team? Not much better than Zinchenko on defense, I don't think. But he's also 22, but I think he's not very good on the defensive end.
I think you're being harsh on Calafiori, because if that was Saliba, you wouldn't be saying that. So I think you're being a little harsh on Calafiori. I don't think he has as much to do with our defensive lapses when we were there before he even played. Brighton game, for example.
I don't know.
No matter how many players we go down, we shouldn't have given up that goal, and it had nothing to do with Calafiori. So
we've allowed
the
about
chances we
2
gave up
goals.
against Villa, they had nothing to do with Calafiori. That was before he was even part of the squad. So I think our defensive lapses have been there since day one. They just
but now you're giving away 2 goals, not 1 goal on most of the games that he's played. We were having clean sheets, and like I said, when he came in, now we're giving up 1 to 2 goals a game, usually 2.
Yeah, I'll let Stan have his say, but I don't think it's all Calafiori's fault why the defense is lapsing. When you not only that, people will say you lost your captain, who's basically your spearhead of your press, which was what's the best way to keep the ball away from your back line, press up top, and that's what he does. So lots of different things have changed the way we played. Stan, talk to me. Tell me your thoughts on the game. We'll get into the details after that.
Usually after a bad result, 24 hours, 48 hours later, I usually am able to think a lot more clearly and try to be more optimistic and try to find the positives. And I'm usually better about things. However, on this occasion, I'm even more angrier after what I'm seeing with the fallout of certain comments and opinions. I'm extremely disappointed with the manager and the lineup that he put out. I'm extremely annoyed at the players for not being able to do better, but I'm also equally as annoyed at the officiating situation as well. So at the moment, I'm not finding much positives in the game.
I hear you. There's a lot we can dissect there. Riddy joins us. Welcome to the show, Riddy. It's one of those questions. Where do you start? Like I said, I think you start with the first 25, I guess it's the first 25, 30 minutes, basically. I thought that midfield would be okay. I didn't realize it was going to be a hindrance to us actually being able to put together an attack. I thought at least because we've seen Partey make line-splitting passes. Marino is good at moving the ball up the pitch. I thought we wouldn't look as inept getting the ball up the pitch. Sterling, as we said, he should get him in some good positions. He should be able to make things work and then get maybe the ball to Havertz and whatnot. But I think those first 25 minutes is whatever plan he had. He didn't realize what he was doing when he put those 3 players in the midfield. It didn't work for us. It didn't get us, for me anyways. It didn't feel like we were going to, once again, are we going to score? Are we going to score this lineup? But once again, why can Ethan and Wary not get a start? It's going to be too late soon. It's going to be too late soon. Erdogan will be back, and guess what? He won't have a spot for him anymore. And I think we just wasted the man's first half of this a quarter of a season right now. He should have minutes on the books. He should have a start in the Premier League on his books. So I can't. For me, if we start with those 25 minutes before we even got the red card, I think for me that's telling in itself. Spencer, I don't know how you felt about those 25 minutes.
My big take on Ethan Awori is if he's good enough to come on when you're down 2-0, why is he not good enough to start? I mean, that's point blank right there. If you're going to throw him on when it's a Hail Mary situation, then you should be able to handle it as 0-0. But with that being said, the first 25 minutes, it just didn't feel like we were threatening at all. It felt like a weird feeling out of the game. It just didn't feel like a normal team. But again, 3 holding midfielders. There's no one to really truly link that play, in my opinion. I don't think Trosser did as good as a job as some people think he probably did on Saturday. If you were going to take someone off, I think Trosser would have been one I would have taken off, and I left Sterling on because at least he was actually making runs. Trosser's one of these guys, and I'm not just digging him out, but he's really good as a 12th man. He has occasional good start, but sometimes when he's off, he's off. The first 25 minutes is just flat. I don't think there's any other way to say it. Raya was off. Everybody was just – it just didn't look right. It's probably the worst performance I think we've seen. I think we got to go back to Villa last year, right? I mean, maybe even worse than that.
We'll look at the stats, and the stats will tell you, probably worse than the Villa. Tony, talk to me before we get to the red. How are you feeling about the game?
Like I said, I thought it was a poor start. They were pressing. We were basically doing nothing. Just the midfield was totally inept. The manager got the lineup wrong, the players wrong. I mean, it only looked like one team prepared, and that wasn't us. Then, like Spencer said, I don't know why Nahari isn't starting. I thought he should have been in the last Champions League game. I thought he should have been in the last Premier League game starting. Because you don't have Odegaard, so when else are you going to play him? I don't think Trossard did that bad. I don't think he did that good. Everybody was between a 5 and a 6, minus Saliba that was terrible, and Nowhere that came on, and it's hard to give subs points. So just, I don't know. We do this almost. It seems like almost every international break, it's like we come back not ready because Raya made a mistake for Spain. Saliba gave away a penalty for France. Lots of criticism there for him. Talk about Real Madrid.
Don't jump too far. You're jumping too far.
Okay.
Let's stick to the 25 minutes of inept attack.
We were inept.
All right. So Stan, we'll say hi to a couple people, and then we'll let you in here on those first half hour or so. Mr. Tom joins us. Welcome to the show. Hi and bye, it sounds like. Wanderers Gamer, welcome to the show. I believe that's a new name for me. I'm glad to see you in there.
2 new names so far.
Glad to see Jamal and Wanderers Gamer in the house. Welcome to the show. You guys are talking about, I assume they're talking about what's going on in Scotland, huh? Doesn't sound like it's going too well there. Oh, well. So, Stan, talk to me. 25 to 30 minutes of this game.
Well, I think the problem is just the way that he set the team up, going back to the similar formation with that 3 in midfield. And I think what he's done there, Mikel Arteta, he's looked at, well, I want to play Rice and I want to play Partey. So I'm going to pick now between Mourinho or the kid. Instead of looking at the 2 different players that you've got and looking at the 2 that he's picked and thinking, right, what's missing? Some creativity. Instead of looking at those 2 players, Mourinho and Nweri, and looking at what traits they have, what their attributes are, he's going to pick the name. He's going to pick the older player with the name who's won the European Cup, but doesn't play that role in the midfield, rather than picking a young kid, the unknown one, you know, who's cost no money. We haven't spent 30 odd million on him like we did with Mourinho, but the kid has the right attributes and the traits to give you some creativity alongside a Thomas Partey and a Rice. But he hasn't done that. And that is just a really big mistake. I mean, I don't know what you call it, a rookie mistake or what, but I mean, you pick the skills and the attributes to complement the rest of the team. Don't just pick the name and the one that you spent the money on. If Mikel Mourinho has to sit because we're having to, you know, tinker around with our midfield, then so be it. You have a word with him, you explain the situation, and you know that when Odegaard is back, there'll be a place for him. You know, you could see a midfield of Odegaard, Marino, and Rice. So I don't know why he's done that. And it was just very stale in those 25 minutes. Very stale.
Yep. I was looking here. Yeah, it was 29 minutes when that yellow card went up. And we will talk about what happened, I guess, for the next 30 minutes. I guess 40 minutes, basically, from that time until the first goal, which I think is important. But once again, I feel like our defense is letting us down when it shouldn't be. Yes, it was probably people said it was a poor pass initially from Moreno, I think it was, or Trossard. Sorry, Moreno, I think, to Trossard, and then Trossard with a back pass was a little too strong. My first thought is, you're standing at midfield. Why are you pushing it back anyways? Go forward with it. Go wide to Sterling at that point if you really feel under pressure, or try to kick it off one of the the defenders if you're feeling under pressure. But he didn't, and I feel sometimes our defense lets us down in the sense that, yes, because because one person made a mistake doesn't mean you have to. You're actually supposed to be the most secure and the person that erases all the mistakes, right? And that's what we've seen from Saliba and from Gabriel. Once in a while, there'll be a mistake in front of them, and that's been happening a lot this season. Balls have been coming through a little too easy, and they've not been up to the task, and they've let the balls get through. And this might have been another one in a sense that there was no reason to even get that close and not just actually maybe get, go goal side and try to ward him out at that point, or at least try to run him down, whatever the case may be. But I think he showed his naivety and his youth, immaturity in the game, because at that point in that part of the pitch, there's no need to get anywhere near him to stick that arm out. Once he did, you could see the guy just go straight down. That's what football has taught you to do. He made it very, 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 very easy for that flag to go, that card to go up. What happens after that, I think we're finding out. It all depends on whether you're wearing a cannon on your shirt or not, it seems. Right? It seems like VAR only gets instituted when there's a cannon on the shirt. But yeah, no, I think Saliba made a mistake. He knew it. And he came into the game on a bad note. So I think that you always say don't take that, we always say don't take that loss into the next game. Don't take that mistake that you did in the international game into the next game. And he basically doubled down on it, and the team paid for it. And hopefully we only pay for it once and not twice. So we shall see. I'll go backwards this way. So we'll start with Stan. Here we go.
William Saliba, with William Saliba, I'm going to give him a little bit of grace, because he's been playing so well for us, for a player of his age. And at some point, there's going to be the odd mistake. And it's not like he makes these mistakes on a constant basis. For me, I don't understand why Trossard's put him in that situation in the first place. There's no need. Like you said, Gary, even if if you really don't have nowhere else to go, kick the ball out of play. Stop play. Let everybody, sort of like get into better positions on the pitch so that they can have a throw in. Don't just welly it back and put your teammate under a lot of pressure. But in Saliba, it's very, it's all very well of us to say, well, Saliba should have tried to shepherd the player further out to the right and trust that the goalkeeper's going to get into a position and it's a tough angle for him to take a shot and you back your keeper to save it. And it's easy for me to sit here and say that, but he's making these decisions in real time and it's all happening very, very quickly. He was probably shocked when he saw that ball coming out from Trossard. He's probably thinking, like, what are you doing? What are you doing, mate? That's one of those ones that you go back into the dressing room, and I would guess that William Saliba is probably going to hold his hands up for that one, but I would like to think that Trossard would step in and say, actually, that one's on me. That one's down to me. I should not have put you into that position at all. So, do I think it was a straight red? I tell you what, for me, it's when I see the similar foul at Anfield the next day when I was sat there watching Match of the Day and I saw that happen. I'd heard about it, but hadn't seen it. I just thought to myself, well, there's not very, very much difference in this foul at all. It's almost in an identical part of the pitch. The referee did the same as our referee. He stopped play and put up a yellow. But on this occasion, VAR decided to stay quiet. VAR didn't get in the referee's ear and give the referee something to now second guess himself and say, you got to go to the screen. Now you're walking to the screen, you're starting to second guess yourself. Whereas the referee in the Liverpool game, he was allowed to ref the game and manage the game his way without VAR getting involved. And I've been listening to people on Talk Sport on my way home, and it's all, the presenters on there, they're all just taking the piss. Like we're all just crying and moaning. And but there is a conspiracy against Arsenal. And I'm going to repeat it on this channel because you've got some listeners here that I may not have heard me say this, who maybe don't watch Arsenal Fan Circle. So I'm going to repeat myself. The reason I say that is that last season, a number of Premier League clubs took it upon themselves to sit down and write letters to the PGMOL and complain and raise concerns about the way that Arsenal play their game. That we're allowing, we're pulling, wool over the referee's eyes. They're missing things that we're doing. We're wasting time. They even used the phrase in the letter, dark arts. So you've got to put yourself in the ref's positions now. If they're getting a number of these letters, they're going to discuss it among themselves. And they're going to be saying to each other, look, next season, we don't want anyone to be thinking that, we mustn't let Arsenal be pulling the wool over our eyes. A number of the clubs are complaining about that. We need to keep an eye on these guys. Therefore, we're under scrutiny. I just think because of that, we're being over-refed this season, and we are being put under more scrutiny than any other team because they wrote those letters. And the refs now don't want to look like idiots. They don't want people to think that we're pulling the wool over their eyes and pulling fast ones, and they're missing it. It's as simple as that. That's not a conspiracy theory. That happened, and obviously that's going to be the result of it. They didn't read the letter, screw it up into a ball, and then say, right, what's next? They would have discussed it. They would have talked about it. And now they're making sure that we're not getting away with anything. And that's why the letter of the law for Arsenal is right on the line for us. There's no grey areas. There's no benefits of the doubt. If it's Arsenal, punished. Right down. And that's what we're seeing. And I just think that it's going to be very difficult for us to get where we need to be this season, as well as fucking ourselves up, excuse my language there, with some of the things that we're doing. We've also got these outside forces working against us as well. It's an uphill battle.
Yep. And we're going to say hi to a couple of people and let Tony have a little bit of a say. Brownie joins us. Once in a while, I agree with Brownie. Yeah, a lot of passing. Sometimes we're passing. We don't even realize we can take a shot. And that happens a lot too. Everybody's saying hi there. But Tony, talk to me. 30th minute, the yellow card goes away and the red card goes up.
Yep. I'm sitting there blaming the players. I'll blame Saliba, but it's the way Arteta sets him up. He sets him up to go the ball forward, then recycle it back. If there's nothing there, play out from the back. You got your two two fullbacks constantly attacking, so all you got back there is Gabriel and Saliba. And on this, his body language was obvious that he thought it was a red card. And you sit there, you see where Ray is. He's not that good to that ball. And I think that's why they reached the decision they did. And it doesn't bother me because the ref went there and looked at the monitor, saw what he didn't see it in real time, and made his opinion. I don't think all these referees and stuff are out to get us. I mean, it's obvious that we keep wasting time, all the bad throw ins and all the shit housery on that. How long we take on corners. We waste a lot of time. But to me, our Arteta gets us into this position because your two center backs shouldn't be your only defenders. If you want to attack with two fullbacks, play a fucking back three. It's not that hard because everybody now knows how we're gonna set up. They counter it. That's why you've seen us not be as efficient lately. You have the injuries, which I don't think is a big deal, minus Odegaard. I thought we needed to go out and get another attacking midfielder instead of we got just another plain central midfielder. We've got like 5 of those. And I mean, those guys would be doing defense, but they're not. I mean, Partey wasn't. It just, it's, you can tell everything's well coached into him because the same situation comes up and they always do the same cycle. Like I said, it's attacking. They don't see an outlet, so they pass it back. And if they don't see another outlet, sometimes they pass it back again to the goalkeeper. And that puts you in these situations. And Saliba should have knew better. He should have just let him go. If you go a goal down, then you go a goal down. It's better than playing 60 minutes down a man. I mean, he just made a mistake. He should have that in his head. Oh, I fucked up. I need not to grab this player. Just let him go. But like I said, I have no problem with the card. You might argue if there was a clear and obvious mistake or not. But like I said, I don't care
I thought
because
we would.
I don't care because the referee is the one that went and looked at the monitor and switched his mind there.
I think that's part of the problem. Why do they go look at that VAR in the Arsenal situation and not in the Chelsea situation? What's the difference? There's no difference. There's a player who is on goal. Basically, if he doesn't get brought down, he will have position on at least one player, probably 2 players, with another one chasing down, which was supposedly the cover, just like Ben White's the cover from the middle. In both scenarios, I don't know. It seems easier for Ben White to close down a player running towards the goal than a player coming up behind you trying to get the ball off of you.
Where was
So
their
for me,
where
for
was their
me, in
keeper
both,
at, Gary?
huh?
So where was their
What does a
keeper at?
keeper matter for me? It's about the defender that they talking about the defender, right? So for me, I kind of feel I don't think there's much of a difference. I think when you make that foul, you basically have taken a goal scoring opportunity away from a team in both scenarios. If that's the rules, they didn't treat him the same way, and they're both the same way. Why does it matter where the defender is after that? Especially because one is in the midfield. We don't know if Ben White's going to make it. One is behind him. We don't know if he's going to catch it. And then I hear it's all about where the ball placed is. So now you have to look at the ball too. Nah, that ball is kicked down the field. He has an opportunity to chase it down. We don't know if he's going to get there or not because we don't know. We don't get a chance because he gets brought down. So I kind of felt like at that point, you that's where the rules. I heard this multiple times today. That's why the rules should be simple. If you bring a player down, he's the last, and you're the last defender. It's done. That's it. That's the rule. There's no like subjective needed. It's pretty much objective at that point. You have tackled the last player with only the goalkeeper in front of him. You get a red and you move on. So it should be consistent, easy and consistent. Spencer, talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, Saliba's at fault. Trossard's at fault. I mean, it's just simple as that. Trossard kicks the ball back recklessly, and Saliba pulls left shoulder slightly. He goes down. To me, it's a red. And then I go and watch the Liverpool one. That's a red too. The Chelsea player pulls him. I mean, it's a red.
He knocks him out of the game.
Yeah,
essentially with that tackle. It doesn't
Absolutely.
matter how it happened. The player, he's done for the game after that. He's 100%. Out.
I agree. And then,
sorry.
Give me 1 second. And then we can go to the other game, the offside, sitting right in front of the keeper, interference, right in front of it, plain as day. They changed the call. VAR changed the call. I don't know if there's a conspiracy. I really don't know. Here's my opinion on this, Dan, with the conspiracy. These people aren't intelligent enough to do a conspiracy. They're just not. There's no. I don't think they could string 3 sentences together. Look at Howard Webb's comments and statements. It's enough waffling. There's just no way there's a conspiracy theory. It's definitely more just incompetence and just plain stupidity. I wish it was as simple as a conspiracy theory, but we're going to see. I mean, how many red cards were there on Saturday in the different games? I think Villa and who they were playing, that was red. There was like 5 red cards on Saturday. It was like red card city. Everybody gets a red card. To me, they're both reds. I mean, if you pull the last man down, that's a red card. Like, that's deniable goal scoring opportunity, regardless of whether he's in position or who's following. And I've seen someone on Twitter talking, trying to do this waffling about, well, this person's top speed and this person's top speed. And I'm like, stop. If you take the last man down, it should be a red card, period. And
no,
look, Trossard, at the end of the day, I would rather had Saliba not touch him. Go a goal down, stay in a fight, 11v11, and get back in it. If you're good enough, I mean, who knows? Ryan maybe makes the save. But Trossard, you can't make that pass either. I don't know what's going on there with that one. So, but that's my take on it. I mean, you can go ahead, Stan. Like I said, I don't want to completely.
So I'd like to counter that if I may. So here is an incident that happened, right? And I'm going to read it directly from the official source. It says, incident: Arsenal forward Bukayo Saka is prevented from running through on goal by Ezri Konsa, who appears to be the last man in the Aston Villa defence. Referee Chris Kavanagh decides to challenge, warranted only a yellow card. Verdict: correct decision. Dermot says, and that's that Dermot Gallagher guy, who's the ex-referee that tells you about everything. He says, I don't think Konsa's challenge merited a red card because of the distance from goal. So why did that not apply to us? I mean,
didn't apply for anybody, really and truly.
I mean, again, the distance from goal, right, was far, right? There's no guarantee that he would score that goal. So I'm just reading out what they've said. That's how they think, right? That's how they apply the rule. This is not me, that's them. Yet when it's us, there seems to be a little bit of a tweak, a little bit of a change on that. It doesn't seem to apply. It's no different from the sending off Man City with the second yellow, and then you go back to the same referee in the similar fixture when it was it the Caveat done the bad tackle, getting second yellow, and then they came out, Howard Webb speaking for the referee, saying, he wanted to apply some common sense. It's an important fixture. Try and keep everybody on the pitch. But yet again, when it's us, that way of thinking that they're quite happy to come out and tell the world, it doesn't apply to us. That's why I think the game is corrupt. That's why I think there's a conspiracy. And the letter writing from the Premier League teams, which I keep banging the drum about, has put it in their minds. They've spoken about it. They're aware of it. They're watching us. I hear what you're saying, Spencer,
Yeah,
but when I hear
absolutely.
what they say about situations, and then we are in that situation, then there's no consistency.
Well, the consistency thing is 100%.
And
We're always going to agree on that.
another thing, it's like anytime anyone mentions the word corruption, it's like corruption. I'm sorry, right? Judges are corrupt. Policemen have been found out to be corrupt. Politicians have been found out to be corrupt. But apparently, Premier League officials are above all of that for some reason.
Again,
so there's no like.
Good points.
I mean, people. Okay. My last point. Right. I'm gonna read this to you, and it's one of the best things that I've come across this weekend. Just give me a second.
It's I'll let you go, Stan, as soon as you find it, but it's one of those things that there's corruption out there. We've talked about this even on this channel on Saturdays, talking about, we have nation states owning teams right now. That's hard to not see there's corruption, but go ahead.
So this is a tweet by someone called Matt Scott, and this is what it says. It says, sport has a corruption problem. A helicopter carrying the former South Africa cricket captain, Hansi Cronje, fell out of the sky, killing him. Also, he tried to stop fixing matches. Tennis has had its scandals too. Cricket and tennis responded by setting up the anti-corruption unit and tennis integrity unit. Football has a betting problem. Look at Ivan Toney. Look at how many players are bankrupt within 5 years of retiring. 50%. That's not down to bad investments alone. I happen to know for a fact that a household name former referee was internally reprimanded by PGMOL for breaching betting regulations. Now we have a PGMOL whose referees make up their own interpretations of the laws from week to week with no regard to consistency. We have a PGMOL that engages in open conflicts of interest, like appointing Liverpool-based and Liverpool-supporting match officials in a game involving their next opposition, with inevitable consequences. We have a PGMOL that draws its match officials almost exclusively from the north of England, almost exclusively to the point of the exceptions to this rule being tokenism from white working class backgrounds. Contrast this with the teachers, lawyers, and accountants who referee in UEFA competitions. This homogeneous absence of diversity would be sanctional in any corporate structure. We have a PGMOL whose once effective governance function does not function at all after almost a dozen years of no oversight. One-man rule by Mike Riley. Who replaced him? One of his closest mates, Howard Webb. Who watches these watchmen? Where is English football's ACU and TIU? Where is the independent oversight of an organisation exposed to the biggest year-round sports gambling market in the world, and one whose serial champions are being held to account for more than 100 alleged breaches of financial regulations? I am accused of conspiracy theory. There is nothing conspiratorial about identifying a clear and repeated failure of governance. This cancer will destroy the Premier League and it will destroy English football. Yet everyone cheers it on from the sidelines because it's Arsenal bearing the brunt of it. It isn't. It's all of us, because the game we love is dying from within. It's a lot there, but I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, no, I mean,
100%.
Everything that has been going on has definitely been tainted by.
That's a good word. That's a good word.
It says it's been tainted by money. And as you know, and since everything is tied to money, everybody wants to make it to the Premier League because they get money for it. Teams want to stay in the Premier League because they get money for it. The problem is that there's one. It is a bad egg essentially in the batch right now that's causing it to not, for teams not to get either what they deserve or at least get a fair playing, fair playing ground, right? I mean, we've seen it with the teams that get relegated. We've seen it with the teams that are trying to win leagues. Teams that are trying to make it into the top four. There's fine margins, and PGMOL is not is definitely not helping. Definitely not helping. So yeah, it's messing up it's hurting the sport, and everybody laughs when it happens to somebody else, but when it happens to them, they don't want to hear that, right? They don't want to hear that laughter. And so far everybody's getting a piece of it, even though I was looking at what is it, VAR decisions that have hindered teams significantly or more than not, and City sits towards the top of that list with the least amount, more going in their favor, and Arsenal sits in the negative with most of them going against them. So I kind of felt like, Arsenal does have a say, but they're not the worst. I mean, City is not the best in terms of getting the benefit of the doubt, but but they don't really need the help, but they're sitting top three and basically getting the benefit of VAR for some reason. Um, so yeah, no, it is it's a bad thing. It sucks. It sucks. But as I've said, and we've all said, we can still do what we need to do, just playing some damn football, right? If we put players in the right positions, all that stuff probably won't hurt us as much, right? Um, if we're not gonna go out there and get the top players, and you're gonna keep the players that you got, then you got to play them. I've said that time and time again. Why are you keeping players and you don't play them in the right time, at the right position, at the right moment in a game? You're down a man. You've played. You come out of halftime. You're still struggling to get anything out of the game. Maybe you need to change things up and maybe you put on a Jesus and an Nweri, earlier in that half. Maybe you try to get the win. Um, you put them on with 5 minutes left in the game. I think that's a that's terrible decision. Terrible decision. So no, and I think that's on Arteta, that one. At at some point, he has to try to go out there and win these games. We're more than likely we're going to go down to 10 men again in the way this season is going. We've gone down 3 times in 8 games. I'll be hard pressed to think we're going to see out on all the remaining 30 games with 10 players the way things have been going for whatever reason. So we shall see. All right, so we want to move on to like the goals, or is that pretty much where everybody?
Uh,
You got something you want to say, Tony? Go ahead. You could start
yeah.
things off.
To me, it's still all the inconsistency you had, not the end of this season, but near the end of the previous season. They were talking about making changes, making rule changes, making changes to VAR. And last season, you didn't see any of that implemented. Spencer mentions offside to start the season. There are supposed to be 12 iPhones set up to do offsides, but now it's 2 or 3 weeks away. It probably will get delayed. I mean, you have this, you never know what an offside is. You don't know what a yellow or red is. And it's inconsistency with the refereeing, it is with VAR. And at some point, somebody has to step in, but I don't think it's corruption. I just think it's bad management. I mean, like Gary said, these rules should be a little more simple. Because they seasons past, they used to like pick 1 or 2 things they'd focus on making changes on, which they do with like a lot of American sports with their referee, and they'll make slight tweaks where, oh, we're not gonna call that. We'll look at this. We're gonna change what a catch is or whatever. And Saturday here in the States, you had Georgia and Texas. You had a call against Texas. Fans started throwing water bottles, thousands of water bottles, since it was at the student end of the deal. And you sit there, the referees finally huddle after about 2 minutes of water bottles being tossed, and they reverse the call, and Texas has the ball on the Georgia 8. But it's something that happens throughout sports. I think basketball, it's probably least. Those guys do very good. College guys are generally pretty good. And I mentioned it here several times. Why doesn't the Premier League go back to amateur referees? There's not any other sport I watch that I know the name of damn near every referee. I mean, NFL, you knew Hercules because he had fucking huge ass arms. I mean, there's not too many that stick out. There's some that I like remember seeing in the NBA, but I never really remember their names. Mine is like one or two, but it's not like I can sit there and name 8 or 10 referees of any other sport. So that comes down to having clear rules, clear implementation of them. If you're to have chains off sides and have cameras decide what's offside, have it set up to start the season, not 9 games in or 10 games, whatever it will be by the time they implement it. And to me, it's still Saliba did something that got the attention of a referee. He made the error. Like I said, the ref went and looked at it. I don't have problems with it. If you want to say it's clear and obvious, that's a different thing. But he went, looked at it, made the decision. So I'm fine with it. I just think it's inconsistency. I don't think it's conspiracy.
Yeah, I don't know. It just
Only thing I'll say,
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
the only thing I'll say to this is I still don't think it's a conspiracy. However, Stan, there's a lot of damning evidence that show that there's a lot of conflict of interest and a lot of the inconsistency thing is just there. About half the league has betting companies on their shirts, right? You have League One and Championship have the Sky Bet patches. I think even League Two has it. So there's a lot of things that, you know, they would do what I would call potential reasonable suspicion, not completely at the probable cause effort, but it definitely, the questions are there. And I think somebody said it earlier, like maybe it was Gary. I think at the end of the day, some people, we laugh at Tottenham when it happens to them. We laugh at United when it happens to them. Instead, we should be like, no, that's bullshit. It shouldn't happen to anybody. You guys should be better than this. They're going to miss calls. That's just the reality of the situation. But we're more concerned about bantering other teams than we are, and this is in society. We put people against each other instead of looking at the systems that are screwing everybody over. So the same thing happens in football. Instead of getting mad at the referees, they're like, haha, United, it happened to you. And it's going to happen to you next week.
Yeah.
So
it might not be a conspiracy, but it does seem suspicious that
there's questions
in the first 4 or 5 games, 2 Arsenal players get a second red on a delay of game call, and we've yet to see it happen since. Yeah, we've yet to see it happen since the day after Saliba gets a red card for bringing down a player. The next day it happens at least 1 or 2 times, I think. No reds given there. I kind of felt like either we're the guinea pigs, or as Stan says, they don't like us because it's not happening. Like when there was games yesterday. I think it was who was it? It was Gravenberch. I think he made a foul. He took the ball, he started dribbling it away, and then he booted it a little bit. So they had to go grab the ball and bring it back, and nothing was given. Right in the middle of the pitch. It wasn't like it was nobody saw it. It was right there, clear as day. Nothing was given. So I kind of felt like, you know what? All right, there's no conspiracy, but I just don't like the fact that my team seems to take the brunt of it first, and then everybody else seems to like afterwards probably not get the same kind of evaluation of the same situation. And I think
there's an easy fix though. We're supposed to be the best league. There's the most finances are washing around our league. We have the best managers want to come and manage in our league. We have the best players that want to come and play in our league. Why don't they get the best officials that are out there? Offer them the big money. You know, why not just make sure we've got the best of everything? There's better refs out there in Europe, in other leagues, that we could just go out and just make them an offer.
Yeah.
Come and referee and have your main job refereeing in this league. Be a big profile for you. You get paid more money. What more do you want? Best in class. Why not? Because it's a little fraternity, isn't it? It's like a Freemasons club or something. They've probably got secret handshakes as well.
Yeah,
it's a jobs for the boys.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Just like
I hear
VAR, just like in VAR as well. Why does VAR need to be refereed by other referees? There are plenty of people out there in the world that are highly educated and have master's degrees and don't like football, hate football, and can't get a job. Why can't we get those people, train them up, and give them jobs? Smart people who have the right educational background, who don't have any allegiance to football, don't even like football. Just do it as a job, get paid for it. That would take everything. That would take a question of, who's in the room, what team do they support. That gets rid of that straight away. That's not a conversation anymore. Why can't we implement these things that take these sorts of conspiracy theories out of the way? We can do it. Hire the best referees and hire people in VAR that have just got good education, can be trained, don't have to be ex-players, don't have to be referees, that can understand the ruling of VAR, and just do it as a job.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
fix there.
We get discernment out of stuff too.
Yeah.
I'll give you another one. If a ball touches a guy's hand in the box, penalty. Period. Don't care if there was intent. Penalty. Period. Pulled a man down, last man pulled him. It doesn't matter. You guys tripped over your feet. Too bad. Don't be clumsy. Because then there's no conspiracy. Once you leave it to discernment, I mean, that's it. Let's read. What did he say?
No, I was going to say something as well.
So again, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
He makes because he still would complain.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, did I lose my train of thought here? Because we're talking about VAR and I forget. I'll have to jump in and interrupt somebody when I figure. I had a thought and I just lost it there, but it had to do with the we're talking about VAR and how it's and how it's actually used. But I think nope, can't think of what I was going to say. But lost it.
Well, another point as well, Gary O'Neill. I don't know if you saw Gary O'Neill, the Wolves manager, in his post-match press conference, and he was kind of saying that because City got that late winner right at the dead of the game, and he was kind of saying that he feels that referees, maybe subconsciously, sometimes give the results to the bigger teams. They get the bigger rub of the green, so to speak. He didn't say anybody was corrupt or on the take or anything like that. Now straight away the FA have come out and they want him to explain his comments. They want him to comment on his comments. I'd just be like, are you fucking deaf? I said what I said. Why do I have to comment on the comment? I made the comment. It's up to you to deem it good or bad. I ain't going to comment. I already made the comment. But they're straight on that. We can't have any kind of, do you see what I'm getting at? As soon as you mention any kind of bias, or he didn't say corruption, it's like, no. But, Sepp Blatter and Platini, who were basically running football, they were on the take.
Yeah.
But we can't mention anything like that. And then, he'll probably get a fine for that.
Yeah.
What's the point of interviewing the manager if they're not allowed to say how they feel about things? There's no point to it. We might as well just give them a book of cliches. And so they can come out and say, what did you think of the game? They can go, it was a game of two halves, and just come out of all the fucking cliches. You know what I'm getting at? That's it.
I hope everybody had fun.
No, I was going to say that on that note there that
Arteta's always
remember in the video in the interview today, Arteta, they had asked him if they're going to try to have the red card reverted, and he said, "Oh, that's the team's probably going to handle that if it's going to handle it at all." And supposedly, and I don't know if this is true, that Arsenal has sent 12 incidents and clips from a show or whatever, asking why William Saliba's card was upgraded to a red. You know why delay of restart is no longer a yellow card. 41 incidents since I guess Arsenal players have gotten yellows for it. No yellows. You know, and I PGMO has no legs to stand on. You can't just change the rules mid season. You either call it or you don't call it. It's got to be consistent. Nobody, you can't because now and then with this whole like they're going to institute some new technology into the game halfway through the season. You can't do that. So what you basically are you're basically once again tainting the season. So what was a situation in the first half of the season isn't now because we've got better technology. Wait a second. So we're not playing on this. We're not playing with the same, the same deck of cards. Basically, getting shortchanged
Yeah.
beforehand, and now we're at full strength. It's like nah. You can't be making changes. Be consistent with your rulings throughout the season, right? If you're going to say restarts or yellows, then make it restarts or yellows. Players will adapt. All right, they do it all the time. If they know a referee is gonna call a particular call consistently, they won't do it anymore. They won't. They will know better, right? They pull out of challenges when they know they might get a red, so they know, and that's from just basically getting hit one time. It never happens again. I doubt we're ever going to see Saliba go in and touch somebody when he pretty much knows there's nobody else behind him sitting near the midway line. He won't do that again. He'll just have to get on his horse and chase down that play with the ball, and hopefully his goalkeeper can make the save when the shot goes off. But
Or hopefully he won't
yeah,
have to do
yeah,
it again because
yeah,
players will know not to kick the ball back into acres of space.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. It could have been a deflection, off of one of his teammates. It could have been anything, but that ball can still make it there. And the thing is, you have to be smart enough and understand the situation at hand that you don't. There's no reason to take the risk. It's 20 minutes into the game. It's 0-0. He might miss the shot, you know? And then what?
Exactly.
If he misses the shot, it's 0-0 and you're still on the pitch, right? Then we go out there and you got your little scare and you wake up from it, right? That was a scare right there. You wake up from it and you basically go down there and you probably hopefully finish the game off. But you punish yourself, and then I think Arteta got a little scared, and basically the team felt it with the way that the players were being moved around, and then it basically went downhill from there. We couldn't attack with 11. We're not going to attack with one less attack on the pitch, right? So, yeah, I kind of feel like it was kind of a Saliba and then Arteta with how he actually decided to manage that game and see it out. We're not, we depend on our defense all the time, but we depend on our defense. When one of those pieces is gone, it's not the same defense anymore. You can't depend on them. Then you have to go and figure out another way to get a win out of a game, and that's the only way you can do this with attacks. But you can't do that when you're pulling your attackers off the pitch. So I kind of felt like he went down the wrong path there. Yeah. Yeah, he's a little too cautious, and I think that sent us down the wrong way.
Well,
And
bear
then,
if you
yeah, go
don't
ahead.
score the goals, Gary, I think you said something earlier about City. It doesn't really have an impact on them. Yeah. I mean, if you're up 5-0 and you get a red card, who cares, right? So when you put yourself in one-score games, that's when you open yourselves up for something to potentially go sideways.
Yeah, and we don't have players that can play in single goal games. If we, Saka's probably Saka and Trossard off the bench. I don't think Trossard starts and we win. You know what I mean? I feel like Trossard coming off the bench in a 0-0 game is better than Trossard playing 70 minutes and it's still 0-0 and we get something out of it. Saka, we've seen it time and time again. He will come up and get something done. Trossard off the bench consistently gets something done. That's it. That's all we got. Nobody else has been able to showcase that they can do it. I mean, Martinelli had a wonderful opportunity to put us up one.
Oh, yeah.
He goes for a.
Oh,
If he just like 9 times out of 10, we kick the ball straight at the goal. He goes for the far corner, and the goalkeeper's standing there. If he goes for the near post, he scores easily. There's nobody there. Goalkeeper's so far off that midline. He kicks it straight to the goal. There's nobody there. He could just
he was
dribble
trying
it
to
in really
go
slowly,
for
and that's
one of those
how much
goals.
space he had. Huh?
He was going for one of those Henri goals, when where you open your
Yeah.
body up and you just curl it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
He
he
was doing
had
that when
it
there was no
very
need.
easy, just boot it straight towards the goal,
Yeah.
and he scores. I mean, that like when I saw the replay, I was like,
Big
oh
moments.
man. And you know,
Those
and
are big
that
moments, right?
yeah.
Big moments that you know.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
earlier in his career, he would just run straight to the goal because he did that 2 or 3 times where he'd just
Yeah.
pick it up at like the halfway line and just run the ball and just tap it into the net. And
Yeah. Yep.
because he
Lolo in the house. Welcome to the show, Lolo. Yeah, you know what, Brownie, I would believe you, but I don't believe you because if the league was run by the clubs would have said something by now. The clubs aren't saying a damn thing. As many teams have been punished by bad refereeing,
Well, they are about us.
and guess what? Guess who gets punished when they talk bad about the referees? The teams, the clubs, the managers, the players. So I don't believe that's correct. I think it sounds like it's PGMOL's running the league more than it does the leagues themselves, the clubs themselves. That's where I've been saying that all along. I don't think if the clubs actually stood up and said, "You guys work for us, fix yourselves up, do like the same way that they told the managers, guess what? When you're on the sidelines, you need to act right. You need to do the right thing, the proper thing. Remember that with the whole Saka and Pep and all of that. They made sure the coaches and the managers had to do things the proper way, and they gave yellow cards for it. Well, guess what? The team should do. Listen, PGML, you're screwing up our sport. All right, you need to do things better, and none of this covering for yourselves. Accountability is to the teams, the fans, football. You're not doing that either. All right. They're not doing this for football. Doing it for a paycheck, just like some of these players everybody talks about. Mercenaries, right? Going out there just trying to make the money. What do you think PGML's doing? They're doing this for the money. They don't have to get things right because guess what? Nobody's gonna second guess them, and nobody has. Every time a team stands up, they fine them. Right? Every time a manager speaks up, they go, "Show us the proof." They have an answer for it anyways, right? So Brownie, I hear you, but the league is not run by the clubs. It should be run by the clubs. If I'm an owner of a club, for example, and I'm sitting just outside the top 2, for example, out of the top 3, I'm getting screwed. I know it. They know. Everybody knows it, right? That's money, and that's money my club is missing out on because you can't do your job right. Right? They're not doing their job right, and teams are losing out, and teams are getting relegated for silly things that could be sorted out by doing things the right way. Taking some accountability for your mistakes. When's the last, like when they make a mistake, they get promoted afterwards? How is that? They made a mistake, the guy got promoted. How is that? That doesn't happen in regular, regular business, but it does in a PGMOL. All right. It does there. All right. All right, let's move on. We've talked about that game. We're playing Shakhtar tomorrow. Here's a question. People have been talking about. Do we play with our back four going into the Liverpool match, or do we play our strongest back four with Saliba? Personally, I think we go with the lineup that we're going to use against Liverpool. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter if they see what our back four is. They're not going to see Saliba, so they know that that's not going to happen. So why not go with a lineup that you can go in and say, look, we've actually played together for a bit. And if it doesn't work out with your starting lineup, you switch it and figure out if you have another option. You know, we'll start with Spencer. What do you think? I'm just
Play your
thinking
best
about the
lineup.
back line. Yeah,
Play your
go ahead.
best lineup. I mean, if you're the whole, I know you're not saying it, Gary, but you got to play your best lineup because there's no guarantee you win the league. So you've got to take every competition seriously. And I'll tell you what, team, go ahead and play a half lineup and then drop points to Shakhtar and then see what happens Sunday against Liverpool. You need a bounce back game. You need to win. You need to send a message, reestablish the baseline, and get moving forward. So I play my best lineup available, and whatever. Let's go.
Tony?
I agree with you. I think you should find whoever's Gabriel's partners be. I think whenever he needs in there, he needs to start. I mean, he should have got one by now. It's ridiculous that he hasn't. He's pretty much the only player that's went out there, played balls out, and hasn't made any really mistakes. And if he makes a mistake, take him off and sub him. I mean, you can do that. You have 5 substitutions, so you can go out and do that. But I think Arteta needs to go with kind of what we're going to go with in the weekend. I get where Spencer's coming for, that we need to go out there and get a win and everything, because we definitely need the goals, because even though we have 4 points, we're still down there because we haven't scored the goals. And that's the main thing. We haven't been clinical. We weren't clinical last year. We weren't clinical half the season before that. And instead, we go buy another fucking defender.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think TVR has made enough mistakes to have to go spend 50 million on a 22-year-old kid. Sometimes your scouting can come out wrong, because this is like the 7th left back we've bought in 5 seasons. It just, Arteta keeps tinkering with that position, and to me it still boils down. You want to attack with 2 defenders? Put 3 defenders in the back and let the guys go forward. Either that or have a defensive midfielder that can drop in between the 2 center backs, because all this time you keep seeing it. You've seen it on the left side, especially with Zinchenko. It would be Gabriel's the last man on an island, not much choice to do, and that's because of Arteta. I mean, he used to, like, when Zaka, he would go back and fill in for the left back. Your midfielder would drop back. You have to do that if you want to play that type of football, or these teams are going to become wise to it. And you could tell by the last 25 minutes who was prepared and ready for the game. It wasn't Arsenal. And I think kind of Stan mentioned Arteta, but I think he's the biggest reason for this loss, because he set the team up wrong, had the wrong players out there, keeps doing the same style of play, and it doesn't work. You go down a man, you take a attacker off, and it makes no sense.
True.
I mean, it's a simple game. You've had these. You go through formations. Arsenal's invented 2. They invented the W. They invented the 4-4-1-1. I mean, it's
No,
not that hard.
I hear
It's
you. No, for me, I kind of like I said, I rather go in with now that you say that and where he should start, and I would like to see him play against Liverpool, but he's not going to do that if he doesn't get to play. So the only way he's going to get to play is if he plays on Tuesday, and we see how that works on the road. Is it? I think it's on the road, or is that home? I can't remember.
Home.
It's home. So
Home.
yeah, perfect. Let him play at home.
Tuesday.
It doesn't matter which one of the two midfielders you want to use. They're seniors in terms of football. So you're not putting him by himself. He's going to have either Partey and Rice, or Partey and Moreno, or Rice and Moreno, or Rice and Partey, whatever the combination you want to use is. He'll be playing with those guys. He'll have some seniority around him. He'll be good. He'll be all right. Let the man play. Give him some football. So I kind of feel like that's what we should be doing there. Stan, got a game tomorrow, Shakhtar. I say we need to figure out if we got a player in Wary, and definitely a back four. If we're going to play a back four, that doesn't include Saliba. We're going to need to figure that out anyways. We should be just go ahead and do it tomorrow.
I think for tomorrow, I really want to win the Champions League, but I'm also mindful that we have a game on the weekend that's going to be very important for the league. And I would agree with you, Gary. A home game against Shakhtar. If Inwari can start that game, then what games can he start? Again, I would probably keep Saka out of that game as well to make sure that he really is ready for the Liverpool game. And I would also give Kivio a start just to let him know that it's nothing personal. Because when you come on as a substitute and then you get subbed, I bet he didn't get to sleep that night. I mean, it's shades of Tavares, shades of Abue. And usually when that happens to a player, it's not long after that they're shown the door. So I would give him a start just to let him know that there's nothing personal.
Yeah.
But I would also go back to that. I would also go back to the formation that we were using when Odegaard first went out, that kind of 4-4-2 formation with Trossard and Havertz sort of rotating as the front two. I would go back to that formation as well.
Yeah. Anybody else got anything for tomorrow? Like I said, I kind of felt like we need to plan like Erdogan is not going to be around. We might not even have Saka. Right? They're saying Saka is close. They're saying Timber is close. I mean, I think a lot of people think if Timber's healthy, he'll play, and then that's our back four there with White, Gabriel, Timber, and I guess Calafiori. But I kind of felt like that's what we got him for, so that'll be fine there. But yeah, and where he needs to play for me, he needs to play.
Yeah, he's got to play. I mean, if you're not, I mean, he did play on Saturday, but it's too late.
That's not playing. He's not a player that gets hand-me-down minutes. You know what I mean?
Again, I said this earlier in the show, Gary. Mm-hmm. If you're going to bring him on when you're down 2-0, then you should start him. Because if you're going to bring him on when everything is falling apart and has already fallen apart, can't you just hurt someone's confidence even more? Put them in a losing situation. You got players whose mindsets are already kind of like, well, let's go to the shower. Yeah. And you got this young kid out here who's ready to roll when all he sees is, lackluster effort because these guys are living to fight another day. So that's my point. If he should be able to start, because if you can bring him on down 2-0, you've said that, hey, I'll turn to you when things have gone sideways. Well, maybe turn to me in the beginning so we never get sideways. So I don't think you're going to see him start against Liverpool. Again, if he was going to have a chance to start, it would have probably been on Saturday. We would have seen him start. Why not give him a shot in Shakhtar Donetsk? I think I would give him a shot in the game. If the kid's 17 and he's worth his his medal, shall we say, play him. I'd much rather Arteta fail with a 17-year-old than to put 3 25 and up, 1 31-year-old, 1 28-year-old, 1 25-year-old, and we got what we got on Saturday. I can sit there and accept the fact that Inwari was out there playing.
Yeah.
I'd live with it. I'd feel a lot differently about Saturday's game if Inwari had gotten some legitimate, meaningful minutes. Because then at least I see you're trying to come up with a different plan of action. But like Stan mentioned, that 4-4-2 is probably the way to go. Hit people on the counter, but get a win tomorrow.
Yeah, well, you know what? It has to be a convincing win for me to feel like we've done what we need to do, because we need to. Yes, a 1-0 win is a good, because it gets us off the losing track. But we're better than that. We're better than that in all the games, in many of the games we played. We scored 2 goals on City and a half. I think we can score 3 goals on most any other team we play. Right? There should be no reason we can't score, and I don't. And that's even with team players missing. We have to. Arteta has to figure out a way to get these guys to perform in those type of situations, because they can, but you're gonna have to find the magic combination for them. Put him in a good. You could put him in a situation to succeed. He's not doing that. That midfield was not a successful midfield for me. Yeah. So that's where I am with that. Anybody got anything else they want to chat on? I think we've talked this game and refereeing to death today.
Yeah, I just don't like the referee overshadowing that. The players were inept. The manager was very inept. He's not playing to your strengths. You see what works. Keep doing it instead of change. Why are you changing against a team that's 13th in the league? It's just it doesn't make sense. You go out there and you, like I said, you play to your strength. If you're fast on this, then play him. It's like Martinelli would have been perfect for that game because he tracks back and plays defense. I mean, they were having no problem with just cruising right through the midfield.
Yeah, it's a home game for Arsenal. The next 2 wins, Shakhtar and Liverpool, so they don't have to travel. So.
Yeah, but that's usually when we screw up.
Well, we need to, like, this home field, like playing the way we have been playing at home, where we can't seem to get out of our own way. That's got to stop. Like, if you can't win at home, what? We should be easily winning at home, not struggling like we've been. All right.
Yep.
I mean, we've been struggling, even though we did beat Leicester City 4-2, but that game was the struggle to get to the point where we took a lead right late in the game. I mean, at home, let's see, at home, I guess our highest scoring games have been at home, but I feel like we struggled there a lot. Right? Southampton, we struggled. Leicester City, we struggled. Bolton, I think, was the easiest one that we've had at home, of course, and it should. But all the other home games, Wolves, Brighton, struggle. Nah, we gotta be playing better at home. We should be playing better at home. It's almost like we go more defensive at home for some reason. Now we need to have like I said, at least 3 goals needs to be scored. But I think we're gonna get out of here. We've hit almost a 70-minute mark, but I think it's almost the 80-minute mark here. So I think we're gonna head out of here. I'm gonna let everybody have their say, and then we are going to see how the rest of this week goes. A big game tomorrow and Saturday. Oh, Sunday, 12:30. 12:30 over here in the States on the East Coast. 4:30 game for you guys across the pond. All right, I'll let everybody have their say, and we will get out of here.
Ooh, look at that big screen.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, Gary, and I enjoyed it because it had been gnawing away as some having a 24-hour. It was good to be able to come onto your platform and just release some of that frustration. and hopefully we'll have a better result tomorrow, and that will try and take my mind away from what happened last weekend. So yeah, looking forward to tomorrow's game, and can't wait to see the lineup that he decides to put out. So thanks for everyone. Thanks for having me on, and everybody have a good week.
Yeah. I don't know where Spencer's getting this from, but Tony and Sense. I don't see it. But anyways, go ahead, Tony. The man of sense.
I still don't want you drag me on here all the time again. But I'm gonna go back to something Spencer was talking about. He was talking about the shirt sponsors. They're stopping to do it on the front of the shirt, but they're still allowing like the instead of visit Rihanna, you have whatever. But that's traveling to the US because the last 3 years, the regional sports channels that you watch the NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball on, it was owned by Billy Sports. And now this year it's owned by FanDuel. You turn it on ESPN and they got overlays of betting odds constantly, and it's throughout the game. I mean, when you move that way, you go more to a betting culture, and we're to probably be asking the questions that we're asking of the Premier League referees and stuff in the U.S. sports because the money involved. I mean, these like Belly, they own casinos, they own sports books, they produce slot machines and everything else. Then you're having, oh, you can't bet in baseball. You just have Pete Rose die, but you can have your TV station owned by FanDuel. It just doesn't make sense to me, and I don't know. I think a lot of that stuff's come to here. At some point, everybody's have to say, "Hey, we can't talk about gambling." I mean, all these leagues now have their sponsors, FanDuel, and all that. It needs to stop.
I hear you. We'll see if it happens. You gonna say bye, Tony?
Yeah. Good night, Tony.
All right, Spencer.
Well, there's too much money involved, Tony. So when there's money involved, they'll just never change. But enjoy your week. Game tomorrow. Game Sunday. Sunday's a 6-point game. Must be 3. You must pick up 3 points. It is a 6-point game. You already dropped 3 against Bournemouth. If you drop three more against Liverpool, could be curtains. Could be, especially curtains if that was City up there, 5-point lead on you. But needless to say, enjoy your week. Stay safe, and see you on the next one.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll do this again next week. Hopefully, we're talking about 2 wins in a row, and we're not even thinking about Bournemouth anymore. Arsenal can win. We'll see how healthy we get on Sunday. I assume Saka will be back. At least he'll be on the bench, hopefully. Timber, same thing. So we should hopefully see her be close to full strength, at least with our attack. Odegaard is still out until, I guess we got about 2 weeks maybe until he's back. So we shall see. But once again, like I said, thanks for joining. If you haven't already, hit the like, subscribe, and all of that. We'll be back next week talking about these next 2 games and then some. There'll be something else coming up. So we shall see. All right. Yep. Everything's set up here for the exit. See you guys on the next one. Enjoy. And
life is a journey. Don't waste your trip. Enjoy the ride.